This is the MLW Radio Network. This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world, according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I am your tour guide, Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie, what's on your mind?
You know what's on my mind?
What's that?
I gotta ask you a question, Adam.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Are you moisturizing?
Sometimes, typically my face, moisture.
You know what? Fucking Mrs. Meanie got me into this whole face wash moisturizing thing. I was like, man, that'd be a funny question to open up. As I sit next to my bed, a 49-year-old man going, well, I'm moisturizing now. This is what my life has become.
Yep.
It's the face wash and moisturize.
It's the little subtle joys in life. My hands are always fucking dry in the wintertime, so I have to wear gloves when I sleep because my knuckles crack. So I wear gloves to moisturize. And my buddy turned me onto this product called Jack Black, which is like a I don't know, fancy shit. But my face is constantly moisturized through the day. It smells good. And yeah, I am fresh, sir. I'm
just hoping I don't have to get to the age where I put Preparation H underneath my eyes to shrink the spelling, you know.
Dude, you know? I noticed that yesterday. I was like, I don't know if I was squinting. I was looking in the mirror, and I'm looking under my eyes, and like they have the, what do they call them? The crow's feet right across here. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, it felt like it came, like the aging on my face felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, you start looking like fucking one of those old-timey actors. You know, who was the guy who did the America's Best commercial, you know?
The America's Best commercial?
No, American Express only, or what is it, Traveler's Checks or whatever?
Oh God, yeah. What the fuck was his name? Yeah,
he had the old timey, you know, detective hat on, and he had the big dick nose. Just fucking, I can't think of his name.
I'm googling it right now. I'm just trying to remember what the hell his name was. Carl Malden.
Carl Malden.
Malden, yeah, Carl Malden. Yeah, don't leave home without it.
Yeah, I don't want to get the Carl Malden. Carl, fucking say that. Carl Malden underneath my eyes.
Yep.
So I was in bed. We were feeling a little frisky. I gave her to Carl Malden. Hey, on, just lay down. Let me give you the Carl Malden.
That's the name of the episode right there.
There you go.
Gave her the old Carl Malden. People are going to see it on their feed and be like, what the fuck does that mean?
Google it.
Pull it up, goddammit. So
gave her the old Carl Malden ... Google it. It's a phrase we just made up that means nothing, but we're just going to make people Google something for no reason.
It's a phrase you've heard your entire life. We did not make it up. We totally did not make it up.
No.
So.
No. Wink.
Welcome to the Pod Squad. Joining us as well, Vanessa says, at my age, I get up to a chorus of cracks, pops, and snaps. Yes, I sound like the snap, crackle, pop Rice Krispie box when I wake up in the morning anymore these days. So.
Dude, it's like a circus routine when I get up. It's like, all right, 1, 2, 3, and stand up. Let's go to the judges. Germany gives them a 8.5.
France, of course, grades of 3 because they don't like anyone. But it's been, you know, I was sitting here thinking about how we were going to start the show and what we were going to do today and what we were going to talk about. And last week we had a great show. You can check out in the archives, mindofthemeanie.com. And I thought, okay, well, this will be, what's that?
If we do say so ourselves.
It was a wonderful program. Got serious, got a little fun at the end. We had fart jokes, we had fun, we were serious. It was a good time.
We had fun, we had farts, we had seasons in the sun.
The most important thing is that we all had fun. And I thought, this is going to be the craziest news that happened so far this year because it has to, and nothing else can be.
The year's only like a week old.
Yeah, like this is going to give us a while, going to be over for a while. And then on January 10th, we get a report from Twitter that Stephanie McMahon has officially resigned in full from the WWE, not just with the board, but in full. It was like, holy shit, because now Vince McMahon is back on the board. So I guess let's start here. Meanie, what are your thoughts about Stephanie McMahon, her resignation from the WWE?
Well, here's the thing. Like, everybody's surprised, and I'm like, why? It's like, before Vince retired, Stephanie had resigned back then. Like, hey, my mom, I want to take care of my kids. I want to be with my family, that kind of stuff. I'm resigning. Okay. Vince, I'm out of here, pal. I'm going to retire. So, Stephanie comes back to step in the role because who would probably be better suited for the role than Stephanie? I mean, she literally learned everything from Vince. So, while Vince steps away for the investigation, Stephanie can step in and make sure things are smooth. So Vince comes back. Okay, you're back. Now I can go on with my planned, what I was going to do before Daddy had to go away to be investigated. I'm going to resign again. So it's like people, running around going, oh my God, what are you oh my godding for? It literally happened over the summer, and Vince went away and she had to come back. So now she's doing the thing she was going to do initially. But now, there's reports that, Vince is coming back. He wants to, I know I'm getting a little ahead.
That's okay.
But Vince is coming back because he is possibly looking into selling the company. That's the real thing, because back in the day, back when all those massive layoffs were happening, I was like, man, they got to be looking to sell. Mm-hmm. When you want to sell a company, you got to show high profits with low overhead. So you cut a lot of the contracts and widens the gap, but in the profits, that's what you do if you want to sell something, right? So it just seems like, reports are coming out that he's looking to sell, and, he wants to be in charge for the sell. And, just the report that he came back, I'm not one of those guys, the stock market went, up like 20%, which in essence, he made him $1 billion just by coming back. I am no stock expert, but I talk to people who are, and they're like, Jesus Christ, they made $1 billion by them just announcing that he's coming back. As
a note too, inside baseball, today is January 14th. We are recording. This episode will air on the 16th. As of at this moment, stock is now at $89.40 a share, which is up like, let me see, from month over month. I think it was trending somewhere around $69. Nice. 69 before he came back. The highest.
We're talking about stock, so let's do this.
Dateline Stanford. Stock price of WWE jumped up 30 points at the news of Vince McMahon's return. But it's at $89.40 a share. I mean, that is not something to just like turn your nose up at. That's an incredible increase.
Yeah. So it's not bad. It's not a bad thing. I mean, there's people are going to be mad that Vince is back. And from my understanding, they had I can understand from a talent perspective being upset because, Vince is, and I'm going to say this, it's not a slight. He's a taskmaster. He's wants things done a certain way and has a vision for it. And since he's been gone, since it's been under Triple H's vision, people have been very happy. And a lot of people got worried with the thing that Vince is coming back. But they had I believe it was yesterday before SmackDown. Again, we're recording this on a Saturday. SmackDown was yesterday. at a talent meeting with Triple H assuring that, Vince is just there for the business purposes of the business because he is one of the best businessmen. And, as far as creative goes, it's still under Triple H, which again could change at any time. It's Vince's company, but maybe, I'm not the Vince whisperer, but I've been in the business since '94, and to me, it's thinking, maybe Vince was away for a couple months, sitting around going, you know what, I'm sleeping all right. I'm not that stressed. I'm not, having to rewrite the show at the last second. Maybe this non-creative life is the life for me, pal. And maybe since he's, been away on his hiatus, maybe he was like, this ain't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe I'll just stick with the books, and if that's the case, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the product under Triple H. I'm not saying it was bad under Vince, but under Triple H, I like it. There might be a little bit more cohesion between NXT and the WWE, which seemed to be a real big disconnect there forever. So once, NXT is Triple H's baby. So once somebody comes from Triple A, not from Triple A or Triple A, when somebody comes from NXT to WWE, there won't be this like awkward, okay, now here's a Viking helmet.
Right.
That kind of shit. But
yeah,
it's been an interesting week.
It has been. I think that's the understatement of the millennium.
That was just the afternoon.
That literally, it was like the afternoon, and then at night. Do you remember? We were messaging each other about this. We were talking about it. We're like, oh shit, we definitely got to talk about it this week. And then I think it was later that night, like 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I fell asleep and I woke up and literally my phone was just alive with alerts. Holy shit. Yeah. There's a report that's dropped that the WWE has come to an agreement with the Saudi Arabian government to sell and put Vince back in charge. And the entire internet went fucking crazy.
Embarrassingly so.
Oh my, I thought, well, that's what I was going to say. We're going to tie into that too. It's like, it was a disaster, like such an embarrassment because nobody bothered to vet the story. Nobody bothered to vet the information. Like, you don't see CBS do this crap. Robert Costa wouldn't fucking put a report out about, the president or January 6th without vetting something. That's not how this works.
But we're going to get into this. I have to say right off the bat, shout out and a credit to Mike Johnson and Dave Scheer from PW Insider for being the only people who didn't say anything about this. Because,
correct.
Let's
we should crack one. I'm cracking early today because God bless you. God bless you. You know what's going to sound good on the recording? Is I initially and then you sneezed. It was like it hit you in the nose. It's going to be fucking beautiful, man. I love that shit. It's the little stuff that pops me there.
My favorite term is theater of the mind. So.
Use your imagination. So, it was like, it was embarrassing to watch people trip over themselves, to be like, oh my God, the Saudis. And like, obviously we're not going to get into politics of that, of the Saudi Arabian government or things like that. That's just not the show for that. But,
it's not a secret.
It's not a secret. It's out there. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter. You can pretty much see where I'm at with it. But like that, we're here talking about the actual event. Right. I think, and again, I'll preface this with my statement that I want to kind of get in. I want to get into what you think. It was embarrassing to be a wrestling fan. It felt like for a little bit, like to be like watching this stuff on Twitter, watching this stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and bounce all over the internet. And my first thought was, did anybody source this? You guys are pulling this from a guy on Reddit who's broken news before. Did anybody source this? Does anybody like look into this? And then everybody's got to do all these backtracks, and it's like, well, God, like, what? How are you feeling when you saw all that stuff initially?
I was shocked, but you know what? Then again, I talked to people. Like I say, I know enough, but like, I start talking to people who deal in business, and are smarter than me. And one of my buddies, I was like, check this out. He's like, there's no way that's possible. I'm like, really? He's like, well, yeah, you're a publicly traded company. If you're going to sell your company, you at least have to make your shareholders aware that there might be a potential sale. I went, that's a great point. And I told him clearly, I know nothing. I know shit about the stock market, but he knows plenty about the stock market, and he's very, I don't want to put him out there, but he's very successful. I don't want to be Meltzer either going, well, I talked to my friend in the ticket agency.
Jesus Christ. Talk about somebody who's up Schitt's Creek right now too.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah. Packed show today, guys.
Yeah. I got one friend who works in the stock market and one friend who is a very successful business person and deals with, that's his business. He's a lawyer and deals with business. So he's like, there's no way this is possible to happen this quick. I was like, well, what if it was all done through back channels and they're just, this is his file. He's like, no, you have to, in order for a company to do this, they would have to buy up all the shares. And he's like, look, I have WWE stock. And if they want to buy it, because if you buy it, it's the price of the stock plus a certain amount over the stock. This is just me trying to remember what the fuck.
So if I can jump in, because I can help sort of tie in and explain this. It's akin to what happened with Twitter and Elon Musk. Okay.
Yeah.
Twitter was a publicly traded company. Elon Musk came in and said, I'm willing to offer you and the shareholders $54 a share in order to purchase this company, which equaled out to about $44 billion, right?
Right.
By law, they are Twitter, pronouns, pal. Twitter is legally and fiduciarily responsible for presenting that information to not just their shareholders, but to their board and to the SEC and to the folks who handle the financial aspect in the government. It's illegal. Like, what if Vince McMahon did that? Like really just think about it for a second. If Vince McMahon made a back channel agreement with the Saudi Arabian government to sell his company and did not alert his shareholders and his board and the SEC about, like, you have to file paperwork for this shit. You can't just say crazy shit. There would be a massive investigation about this. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to kind of put context on what you were saying.
No, this is why I pay you the big bucks, pal.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. You put it well better than my stumbling and bumbling.
You're doing a great job, though. Doing a great job.
I can stumble and bumble with the best of them. But yeah, that's essentially what my friends in the business world said. There's no way that it happened this fucking quick, But oh my god! And then I mean, there's also the thought out there that putting where is there a penalty for putting out this fucking information, especially if you're a stockholder. If you own WWE stock and there's a report of a sale and the stock, whatever to say, the stock goes down.
Yeah.
Can you fucking sue people for putting out false information that essentially costs people money?
If you were to suppose you and I were on the board and I leaked that this was selling to the Saudi Arabians, right? But I sold my shares before that. That's insider trading. That's fucking illegal.
That's Martha Stewart, right?
Yes. That's Martha Stewart illegal. Right.
That's kind of what I was thinking when all this was happening. I'm like, is this like some Martha Stewart shit here? Just.
Yeah. It very well could have been like, but again, I don't see anybody on the board sabotaging this. And again, to be clear, there should have been some analysis. There should have been some due diligence before. I felt like, like Eric Bischoff and John Alba, we talked about this. They had a great live feed on Strictly Business, which is their podcast on the 83 Weeks channel.
Over to you.
Yeah.
Send it over.
Fantastic listen. I mean, then I would give them credit because during the process of the show, they continually said, we do not have confirmation on this. This is not. John Alba is he's very knowledgeable in media. So he kept saying, like, this is not, but we should explore this because, it's coming out, which is fine. That I don't necessarily have an issue with that.
Right.
But they had a fantastic analysis of this entire thing. And again, there are levels to this and there's rules to it. And you can't just, it's not the Wild West. Like that's not,
right.
That's not how this kind of shit works. So initially my thought was, fuck, that's not possible.
Right. Yeah. And eventually it turned out all to be bullshit.
Right.
So it's just, and look, I won't lie. I kind of got excited, because I'm a chaos junkie, like when news breaks and something's happening in the moment, I'm like glued to Twitter. I'm, refreshing. Hey man, did you hear this? Hey, I heard this. Blah, 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 blah. Back, doing back channel shit.
Right.
And just wondering, hey, is this true? And, people are like, this is what I'm hearing. And I'm like, holy shit, this, and that, and the other thing. And then again, that's when I start talking to my friends in the business world. And they're like, yeah, this is, I respect the fact that, wrestling journalists might not understand trade rules or law or stock market, whatever. I was like, so that kind of settled me down. I was, I'm going to go to fucking bed. I was ready to stay up all night just to, somebody tweeted, was like, well, it's 8:30 in Saudi Arabia. News should be breaking soon. I'm like, really? Mm-hmm. Ooh, exciting. Let me see what's going on here. Not that I'm excited that they're selling this. I like when news breaks.
Sure.
I'm a dork.
No, man, but it's fun when you're on the cutting edge of that stuff, though. When
you're watching something unfold in real time, there's something to it.
Yeah.
There's an adrenaline rush. So, and then, once I talked, my friends talked me down off the fucking cliff. I was like, I'm just going to go to bed and wake up and see what happens in the morning. And then it turns out it was all bullshit.
Right.
So, but, yeah.
It was frustrating to see how many people were clamoring over each other. I think that was what really bothered me. And it was like, oh, what are they going to do? Like, what about Sami Zayn? What about all the women on the roster? What about this? What about that? And again, these are not invalid questions, right? Like, we understand that there's an issue. Like, that's why Sami doesn't go to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And we understand about, the dynamic of women's rights inside of Saudi Arabia. But this is not a confirmed report, right? Like, that's the thing is, it's like, this isn't confirmed. Like, none of this is accurate at this time. No one is saying anything about this at this time. So,
but there's this thing. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I have to get this out of my head.
Sure.
But with any room, like, it's easy to start a rumor when there's like already a precedent set. And lately the Saudi government, they've been buying soccer teams. They started their own golf league.
Right.
They're trying to ingratiate themselves into Western culture, whether, European or American. They bought some soccer teams. They started the live golf thing, and they're paying these golfers like way more money than they would on a traditional golf tour.
Right.
So you could see that, and then when you hear they're buying the WWE, you could put two and two together and go, oh, this must be real because they're already done this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
But, they're trying to buy into Americana, which WWE is 100% American pop culture, Americana. So
yeah,
it's easy to, go with that rumor. And my favorite term from what happened that night was there was a lot of vague tweeting.
Yes.
There's a lot of vague tweeting, which, unless 100% this is coming out, don't vague tweet.
Yeah.
Don't tease me. Don't give me blue balls.
Right. Don't give me hope, guys. Don't give me hope.
Well, not even hope, but just the thrill of watching something.
Yeah.
As it happens.
That's what I meant. Hope that something crazy was going to happen. That's what, what I mean? Like, please don't do this to me. Yeah. So
I can see the headline now. Blue Meanie hopes WWE sells to Saudi Arabia.
We're gonna fucking see a report tomorrow. Yeah.
He said
I didn't say that. That you take oh Jesus Christ. Now we're gonna do damage control and Jesus.
Words.
No, it's just, and again, like you think about it, and we touched on this a little bit last week, and I know, a lot of people are really surprised that this happened so quickly. They're looking at it like, let's just look at it in the context of, oh my God, it happened. That Comcast, NBC wasn't the one that bought the company. And to me, in my brain, that's what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
They already have all the information. They have NXT, they have Raw. The only thing they really don't have is SmackDown. And that, I feel like, for all intents and purposes, that's their flagship program on cable, on a top network. Imagine that on NBC. And I was like, that there's no way that they did this with Saudi Arabia, excuse me, Seltzer Kiss, without checking with Comcast or even rebutting Comcast. So I was shocked. It was a cavalcade of bullshit that happened. So
that'd be a good name for an episode too.
It's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
A cavalcade of bullshit.
But there was also, that should just be the name of the show, Cavalcade of Bullshit.
With the Blue Meanie.
Yeah. But there's also, and I don't know if this has been said out anywhere else, but I've heard it, a conspiracy theory.
Ooh, hold on. Let's get the news report.
Conspiracy theory that somehow the rumor was floated as a way to pressure NBC into buying the company sooner, or just to gauge the temperature of how people will react to a possible sale, even though you can't. There's a rumor somebody put that out there just to see how people will react, and B, pressure NBC into somebody else might want to buy this company. Better pony up, pal.
Right.
There's that rumor. It's just a rumor. It's a conspiracy theory.
But again,
who knows if there's anything to it to substantiate it? But it's
again,
out there.
Again, what would be I've heard that on some segments of Twitter, but what would be the point of it? What would be the point of? And I'm not saying it to you. It's just more like a general statement. Why would they do something like that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Hey, friends, this episode of Mind of the Meanie is brought to you by our favorite producers of ball trimmers, Manscaped. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are leaving 2022 with brand new products, the Persevere Cologne and Persevere Body Wash. 2023 is the year to up your hygiene game and smell amazing, and Manscaped wants to help you do that with this special offer. Use the promo code MINDMEANIE for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Take the leap into the new year and join the 7 million men who already trust Manscaped. And Meanie, I know I trust Manscaped, but let's talk about what was the highlight of 2022 for you, and what are you looking forward to in 2023?
Well, I'll tell you, man, Manscaped has kept Meanie up on the up and up when it comes to looking and smelling good for Mrs. Meanie. I love the Persevere body wash. I love the Persevere cologne. All our products have been tip top, all the way from the foot spray to to everything. So when it comes to Meanie looking his finest, Manscaped has done the job.
And doing the job it is for me here as well at the Barnard home for wayward and troubled youth. Courtney absolutely loves the new look on Little John and the East Side Boys, so I can't complain. That has definitely been the highlight, all the way from the tippy top down to my thigh slappers. 2023 is on its way, and the last thing you want is to be the guy with pubes getting in the way of making it your best yet. The Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 is the leader of the Performance Package 4.0, or as I call it, the perfect package for my package, Meanie. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. This new year, shave those loose pines off of your wood with the best tool for the job. The Signature Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take down every pube in its path. Also, talk about feeling clean and smelling good as well. The new Persevere Body Wash from Manscaped solves all three of those problems for the perfect addition to your daily grooming routine, but in the shower. The body wash has a light, woodsy scent and is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized. The new Persevere Cologne is like the body wash with a light, woodsy scent that answers the call of the wild while leaving you smelling like a man forged from the earth. And Meanie, we're not talking about smelling like a man after you come out of the wrestling ring. We're talking about clean, fresh, and well and good. It's also cruelty-free, Meanie, which is amazing. It's dye-free, paraben-free, and vegan, so you know you're in the right hands while smelling right. Meanie, what's that promo code again one more time?
You can use code MINDMeanie
for getting 20% off plus free shipping. That's promo code MINDMeanie for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. 2023, it's all in the way. The woods are here and smell amazing. Are you ready to jump in and join us with Manscaped? Again, 20% off plus free shipping by using the promo code MINDMeanie at manscaped.com. Happy New Year to your balls, and we thank you. We thank Manscaped for sponsoring the program. What I don't want to see, and this is another thing we're going to get into before we talk about Papa H, there is a report that, and Bailey, Shackleford's here. I heard North Korea is the dark horse to acquire WWE. I salute you, sir. I salute you for that one. Well done, sir. Well done to you. I'm going to go with, I would say Iran, but that's just my money. But
and I ran so far away.
Oh my God, you popped me on that one, pal. There's a report that Tony Khan and his father are interested in purchasing the WWE and merging it with AEW and giving Vince McMahon a role. And now I want your response to that first, Meanie, and then I'll give you my input. What are your thoughts on Tony Khan potentially buying WWE?
The term I read is they're in a pool.
They're swimming.
They're in a pool with other potential investors. And that will... I hate to fucking be that guy, but that will not fucking happen.
Right.
Vince McMahon will not allow to happen to him what he did to fucking Ted Turner.
Right. For a multitude of reasons, I think. I'm sorry, I cut you off, and I'll go into mine, but go ahead. You go first.
Yeah. I mean, Vince proudly went, I bought my competition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody else is going to come along and buy him and go, I bought my competition's competition, or, you know, like a Russian doll, you know, where like one fits in the other, you know. No, Vince will not allow that to happen.
Tony Khan coming back for revenge for WCW, you know.
Well, I keep saying, you know, WWE's worth $6 billion, $7 billion, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
You know what this reminds me of? It's like I started a promotion back in the day called 3PW. It's just it was a small indie fed in Philly, right? And that was born from the fact that I know a guy named Steve who said, hey, this guy wants to sell me his wrestling promotion. I was like, what is it? And he told me, I was like, I've never fucking heard of it. I was like, why would you buy something when you could just start your own thing?
Right.
And then me and Steve were going to start this thing, 3PW, and then it turned out that he backed out and all this shit, but we got the ball rolling with 3PW. It's like, why buy? You started your own thing. You started AEW. It's doing well. Why buy WWE? You know, and it's just like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm going down another road, but then again, you know, it's just like, I'm not even going to entertain. I feel bad that I've entertained this for like more than 2 seconds.
Right. There's a lot of reasons though, like, right, that it doesn't make sense, right? And one we've talked about a lot on the show and that you've made mention to a lot on this show is the fact that you've mentioned before that the rumor and innuendo is that Vince McMahon has long maintained that his biggest mistake was buying WCW.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that if that happened, let's just, you know, put on our fucking tinfoil hats for a second and act as if Tony Khan bought WWE. I firmly believe that that would be the same thing that would happen to him, because now you're looking like, instead of it being Vince McMahon buying up the competition, it's now Tony Khan with the monopoly. And that doesn't do anybody any good. We saw what happened with that merger and that acquisition of WCW. There was a lot of talent that was left out. There was a lot of talent that was underutilized and underperformed. There was not enough television time to go around because they couldn't base Nitro on anything anymore. It didn't work really for anybody.
Vince hated Vince, in retrospect, regretted buying WCW because he bought it took away his competitive edge.
Right. Exactly. And Vanessa has. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. What did Vanessa say?
Vanessa was saying that she made a good point that Tony seems to have enough trouble getting Ring of Honor back off the ground.
Right. He it's a fact. Tony couldn't get a TV deal for Ring of Honor. So you're going to buy WWE. And then when you buy WWE, you're going to, end up neglecting AEW. The day one fans for AEW are going to feel slighted, that, you're taking away from the thing the alternative they ended up loving, AEW is the alternative to WWE. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but it's good to have options to watch, Yeah. And, they're not connected. I mean, that's why they did the whole brand split. He bought WCW. He said it took away his creative edge. So he split it up, WWE, between Raw and SmackDown. One show has a set of wrestlers and writers. The other show has another set. He had to make up for buying WCW with creating his own in-company competition.
Right.
So, if Tony was smart, and I know he's smart, he won't even entertain the thought of buying WWE. Just worry about making AEW the best AEW. Don't worry about acquiring WWE.
It doesn't do anybody any good. And again, too, like I said, to your point, as far as television rights and things like that, Vince could have easily tried to get Nitro back on the air somewhere if he really wanted to. I'm sure that property WWE could have been added. Like they could have branded WCW Wednesday Nitro. So you're not competing with yourself, right? Could have been done. But think about it this way. NXT, SmackDown, Raw. Hunter ran NXT.
Yeah.
Think about Tony Khan for just, again, game it out for a second, all right? You have Dynamite. Right. You have Rampage. You also would then have Raw, SmackDown, NXT, right? That's 5 shows almost through the entire week, right? Almost every day except for Thursday. 2 shows on Friday. That's a lot of creative content for one person to oversee. How do you manage all of that as the booker, the head booker? It's not feasible even with the teams they have assembled with AEW and WWE. I don't think it would be done. I don't think it could be done.
He's already got enough people under contract with AEW that aren't getting enough TV time or aren't being utilized. I love AEW. I love Tony, but how many times have we seen somebody new come in and make a big splash and then fade to the background?
Right.
And it's happened. You bring in the former WWE guy that makes a big splash. He's a game changer, and then he fades into the background. Next guy comes along, or next woman comes along. She's a game changer. Fades into the background, kind of thing. So, just if I was Tony and his father, I would just focus on making AEW the best AEW, and worry about everything you got going on. And that's just a rumor that he's in the pool. But if they're going to sell to anybody, my thing is, I've always, been on the bully pulpit saying Amazon should buy it because they have streaming networks and they have their own in-house shopping network, which could sell their own product. But in the grand scheme of things, Comcast NBC makes the most sense because they've had a relationship with NBC going back to the 80s, with, Saturday Night's Main Event, and, NBC, has produced, decades of WWE television. So that makes the most sense. And they're already on Peacock. They already have Young Rock and all this content already on Peacock. So it just makes sense. I think the reason why, Peacock has any business is because of the WWE content,
I agree. I think that set Peacock on the trajectory it's on now. I think that's why they've done so well as an app. I would be shocked to see anybody. And remember too, like, even if it's Comcast, if it's Amazon, if it's Disney, these companies have what I refer to as fuck you money.
Yeah.
They have more money than you could possibly imagine. Think about the opportunities that are there. Because again, you know, at the end of the day, like Vince is limited and that company is limited in scope in regards to contracts, right? For example, if CM Punk wanted $5 million to come and do a WrestleMania event, is Vince going to have that money to shell out?
Right.
Comcast NBC would be like, you know what? CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania sounds great. Here's $7.5 million to come to the event. Right. Like literally, like they wouldn't even let them make them bat an eye. That's right. Just like, here you go. Here's what you need. What else do you need? You want your own car? Here's the keys to the car. That's the kind of money that these people have. So the opportunities are legitimately limitless for contract negotiations, bringing people in, other talent, crossover appeal that works with NBC. And again, SmackDown on Friday nights on NBC on their main page. Fuck, man.
They already have their built-in infrastructure. There's already departments for everything they need to do. Now, if he goes and buys WWE, he has to build that infrastructure or go with the only thing that, you know, sucks with like acquisitions and mergers is usually there's like a bloodbath in the offices of, you know, the corporate side. You know, right. Why employ these people when we already have these people? You know, we already have everything in house, and a lot of people who work for WWE currently behind the scenes will probably lose their job, which sucks.
Yeah,
that's just, unfortunately, that's the nature of business, but it just makes the most sense. Everything is right there with NBC. And owning their own content.
The other thing I want to make sure that I mention as well before we get into Ask Meanie here is the fact that everyone on the board has said there's no guarantee that a sale is going to happen. Stephanie's statement, Nick Khan, Triple H, Vince. There's no guarantee that it could happen. I mean, honestly, if you're asking me my opinion, I don't really want to see the company sell. I like the way it's set up. I like the way it's structured right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But again, like if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do.
Right.
But there's no guarantee that could happen. It's like, okay, well, part of the negotiation process with this thing is if NBC wants to buy the rights to SmackDown and they want to move SmackDown to NBC, well, why not just buy the whole fucking company? What's the cost differential? You know, they're looking at cost analysis. They're looking at their return on investment. You know, what is the net operating income with not having SmackDown versus having it versus owning it? You know, like there's a lot of things that go into this. And it's not just as quick as that. Now, the only other thing that makes me think that they will sell is the fact that they've hired JP Morgan, and they've had other folks that have come in to oversee the process, like big heavy hitters are coming in from the business world. So, yeah, I mean, time will tell. Obviously, as in all things, as we say every week, this is an ever-changing, ever-moving story. So I'm sure, you know, this week will be something crazy. And, you know, we'll see what happens there. But I got cool news. I wanted to let you know I've been speaking with the team at Brothers Gaddor about creating a new Wrestle Buddy for me. So you'll have your official Mind of the Meanie 2-pack Wrestle Buddies if you'd like to pick them up for your bedspread or your best friend or whoever you would like.
Yeah, I got mine on my bed right here. I got both of them here.
So Sophie won't let me have the Santa Meanie. She has it in her room. So she's like, I want to have Santa Meanie here with me. So go to brothersgaddor.com right now. You can still get the one on the left, on Meanie's left there, the original Blue Meanie and the Santa Meanie for the holiday season. That one, is that officially sold out now?
I think so. I had mine at Icons and they completely sold out.
Yeah.
And then Brothers Gaddor told me they sold very well.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe this becomes a yearly thing.
Possible. Do a different design, do a different style design every year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What's cool about the Santa Meanie one, it's got the steel chair on the back. So like, over the weekend when people asked me to sign it, I just would sign on the steel chair, like, because I've signed so many steel chairs in my career.
I saw you sign a couple of steel chairs at Icons, though. That guy came up with like 4 or 5 of them. I was like, I mean, that's dedication right there. There were a lot of fucking signatures on that chair, man. But
well, I was like, were people at the dinner table just standing around now that you got all the chairs here? What the fuck?
Where people sit in your house, man. No, I mean, it was really cool to see how quickly those were moving. At Icons, I felt like, I love being at Icons with Meanie because it's like, it's just a cool time to like see everybody and get to chat with people. Just every other like 30 seconds, hey, can you grab a bag? Grab that bag right there. Here. Oh shit, here you go. And fucking, they were sold out completely. So
you were Santa Meanie's helper for the day.
That's right.
you and Mrs. Meanie.
That's right. It was a good time, man.
It was very cool. It was very cool. There's possible opportunities, to do for next year. I'll reach out to him in August when it's, we're right around that time and get to work with him. But I'm excited if you get your Brothers Gaddor buddy, then we have a play set.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. You can have Meanie just meanie salt me from the top of your roof, the top of the bed, wherever you want a meanie salt from. So once that news, they're working on the design right now. Shout out to the guys at 10th Ward Barbershop. Their logo is going to be on the front and the back of the buddy. Nice. And I am looking forward to seeing how it comes up. Don't forget, we'll keep you posted, but don't forget, if you want your Santa Me, or if you want your Blue Meanie or your G.G. Allen wrestling buddy, go to brothersgaddor.com. I might just pick up one of them just because. Vanessa wanted to know, we go back to that real fast. Dave Meltzer's getting drugged through the dirt. Do you want to touch on that before we go through?
I vaguely like he's coming under fire because somebody fed him a false report about something that happened in Japan. I'm blanking. I just fucking read the article. Wrestling Inc. put out the article that Meltzer's coming under fire for putting out a false report, and then when he was corrected by the actual promotion that he reported on, he refused to correct the statement.
Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, that's about right. That's a great summary of it. David Bixenspan wrote the report for Wrestling Inc. Essentially, what it looks like is that Meltzer was fed false information from a hoaxer posing as Dragon Gate talent, and making sure to get Dave's side and contextualize how he basically didn't do any due diligence on this particular report. And it just, he didn't follow up with anybody. He just reported it and put it out. There was a lot of folks who were saying that this was a hit piece. It wasn't a hit piece. This kind of shit happens all the time in media. Like Brian Williams on NBC got caught up in a bunch of shit a couple of years ago about lying about being in a helicopter that got attacked in the Iraq War. It's not people reporting on that. It's not a hit piece. This is holding the media accountable. And I appreciate what Bix did here and the editors at Wrestling Inc. by holding him accountable. So I think
that's a great, David Bix's man does great work.
Go to wrestlinginc.com and you can read the story. But yeah, that's really what this seems like, is just the fact that they're holding him accountable for that. But boy, people are ripping him apart right now. So I think, look, Meltzer is Meltzer, but, that's pretty much where the story is at this point. So you can go check out that article there. But
here's my thing with Dave, and we'll get to Ask Meanie.
Yeah.
I like Dave. I don't hate Dave. In my opinion, Dave Meltzer is a great historian. Like he's got good recall about things that happened. But then there's also the thing where, and I've heard there's a thing I took issue with him, and then I heard Bruce Pritchard talk about his podcast, is like he would give out show results and attendance figures, and what's your source? Oh, the fan that went to the show. Really? So the fan at the show went around and counted heads to see how many people were at the show and attendance figures, and figured out the gate, this, that, and the other thing, where Bruce Pritchard is like, I would have gave it to him if he would have called, and we could have, just this, that, and the other thing, but he does too much crowdsourcing from people who don't work in the business. It's like cheap labor, Yeah. I'll have somebody who went to the show tell me what happened and just report it as fact when, dude, I never worried about, as a fan, I never worried about what a fucking attendance figure was as a fan going to a show until, I started reading, getting around people who read the newsletters. One night there was a NWA WWF doubleheader in Philly. NWA was at the convention center. WWF was at the Spectrum. I went to the Spectrum show just because it was closer to the hotel we were all hanging out. And I get back to the hotel and I saw somebody who went to the NWA show. I was like, I went to the Spectrum. They were like, I went, what was the attendance? I was like, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Why do I care about? I'm not a fucking hall monitor. I'm not. I'm sorry. I was too busy watching the show.
Yeah, like who cares?
You're busy looking around counting heads. You're missing out on what's going on in the ring. So how can you give an accurate description of the matches? You know, it's like, and that's what Meltzer would do. He would just like crowdsource from people who went to the show, and they could have told him anything.
Yeah, that's well.
And how much misinformation is out there in the annals of history through his newsletter, and people take it as gospel fact when it was just Joe Schmo from bumfuck Iowa is just saying, "Oh, this is what happened. This is my opinion."
Well, right. Like, and I won't name the news site that reached out to me on Twitter. I guess it was 2 years ago now. It was the first show back in Pittsburgh when they went live again. It was 2021, and someone reached out to me about Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH. She had just started the new almost superhero gimmick. And there were reports on Twitter that people were booing her as she came in. And I'm like, that's not accurate. Like, first of all, I'm not going to answer this question for you. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to shit all over somebody's gimmick. But second of all, like, no, dude, nobody was booing. There was like, my daughter loved it. And honestly, that's the only thing that matters is the fact that if she likes it, that's what's important. The kids loved it. Like, the fuck are you trying to bury this person? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I hate that kind of stuff, man. I absolutely hate it. So, but what I don't hate, Blue.
Yes.
Your first name, obviously your God-given name there.
That's correct.
That's correct. I have a question for you.
Yes. Yes, dear.
Are you ready to ask Meanie?
I would love to.
I should have done this one first.
Yeah, of course.
And then the question, and then this part.
It's time to ask me anything. Ask me something.
Don't forget, tweet us your questions at Mind of the Meanie on Twitter and use the hashtag AskMeanie, and you may hear your questions asked on the show. Matt from Dover has one from left field for you, Meanie. Is the movie The Rock a James Bond film?
That's a great perspective. It could have been. Welcome to The Rock.
I specifically said no liquid plasma screens.
Oh, famous titties for 500.
That's not my name. Turd Ferguson. Yeah, what
idiot. Do you want? Yeah. I cannot argue against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue against it. So that's well done, sir.
Tip of the hat to you, Matt from Dover. First time, long time. Mark and Dryden's got two good ones here to lead us into the rest of the program. Out of these bands, we didn't get one from Grape Juice Burp or whatever his name is this week. I was a little disappointed, but his fucking
Grape Juice Dingleberry.
his fucking Bronco Buster question last week popped me. Out of these bands, which is your favorite and why? Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, or Alice in Chains?
Ooh.
Jesus, man.
Just, you're giving me those four bands, and I got to pick which one.
Yeah, which one's your favorite and why?
So, shoot it again.
Nirvana,
right?
Soundgarden,
right?
Pearl Jam, or Alice in Chains?
God damn.
Oh, goddamn.
Goddamn. That's like making me fucking pick my best friend.
Right?
Those bands got me through high school.
Lots of great music in that fucking setup there.
A lot of great experiences. A lot, out of those bands, I've seen Pearl Jam the most. I got to see Alice in Chains once with Lane, but most of the time with Duvall, Mr. William Duvall, who's done a fantastic job, by the way. I enjoy the newer material. I know a lot of traditionalists like, well, it's not Lane. Well,
actually,
Brian Johnson replaced Bon Scott, so I mean, it happens. Unfortunately, he passed away. Unfortunately, Lane. I wish Lane was still with us, but it is what it is, you know. But out of those 4 bands, which all of them I love, but I would have to say Pearl Jam, just for the fact that I've seen them the most. Like all those bands, I've seen them the most. They became like events, like annual events. They were coming around a lot. It was like, yeah, we're going. I got to see the legendary Randall's Island show that they did back when they were doing the No Ticketmaster tour.
Wow.
A buddy of mine was in the 10 Club and got me tickets. And yeah, I would have to say Pearl Jam, just for the fact that, you know, I've purchased everything they've done. I'm in the 10 Club too, by the way. So, you know, I'm an active member of the 10 Club. I've seen them plenty of times. I might have cried at one of their shows.
Hey man, nothing wrong with that.
You know, some of their lyrics have really affected me. You know, there's, you know, certain lines where I'm just like, yep, that's me. And you know, but yeah, I would again, I love all those bands, but I have to probably say Pearl Jam the most.
If you're asking me my favorite, this is a tough call because I enjoy all these bands as well. I would say Nirvana. I feel like, you know, my younger years, like growing up, I was like 7, 8, 9 in the early 90s, you know, excuse me. So Nirvana was like starting to get like super big, and like the grunge sound was like kind of taking hold. I was a big Green Day fan at the time too. But there was just something always like super special about Nirvana. Like there was just always something so great about them. And watching their MTV Unplugged set was just incredible, man. You know, I mean, you know, I was probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 when I first saw it. Didn't quite fully comprehend it at the time, but I just remember really enjoying it. Yeah, I would say Nirvana. But I mean, you know, like I said, all of these bands, you know, like I like Audio Slave. You know, Foo Fighters, those 2 bands spawned from these 2. And Alice in Chains, I mean, you know, Wood is a fucking banger. Like that record goes hard. So
yeah, it would be Pearl Jam and then Alice in Chains.
Yeah,
close second. I love Soundgarden too. I love Nirvana, but Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains, and then Alice in Chains.
What's your favorite Pearl Jam song?
Holy shit!
Sorry to put you on the spot, pal.
No, it used to be Yellow Light Better. Yeah, when they first that came out, and then like it just okay. Just Breathe. There's a deep meaning to it, which I've shared on social media. I don't feel like talking about it because then I'll start crying. But well, fuck it. When my mom was ill, and I knew I was about to lose my mom. She was on a ventilator, and I knew her time was coming. I would play Pearl Jam's Just Breathe on my cell phone. You know, when my mom was sick and she was out of it, she was on the ventilator and she's on so much medicine that sometimes she was there, sometimes she wasn't. My main goal, I'd watched a documentary on how people use music with dementia patients and how it keeps their brain functioning. And to me, the best thing I could have done for my mom was to have constant, like a radio playing music in the room, just so when she's laying there, she's not listening to fucking machinery.
Right.
You know, if she could just listen to like some kind of oldie station and keep her brain going while she was in her state. But like every now and then I would play Pearl Jam's Just Breathe because I just wanted her to breathe. So yeah, that would have to be my favorite, but there's so many.
Yeah.
But that one hits me in the feels.
I would say my favorite Nirvana song is Come As You Are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great records that they have. And I know, you know, you're right. Like, I know people are like, oh, well, that's not really a Nirvana song because it wasn't released during his life. It's like, well, it was.
Yeah.
It was still released and it was still great. But if we're talking about during their timeline when they were active, I would say "Come As You Are" that's a great fucking record, man.
One of my favorite Nirvana songs. It's a song they released as a B-side, but I love the demo version. And it's a song Dave Grohl did, was Marigold.
Mm.
There, I have like this box set called Alcesticide, which is like the demos and B-sides that Nirvana did. And there's like an acoustic version of the song Marigold that Grohl did, and Nirvana eventually did it, and Kurt sang it. I believe Kurt sang it, but that song is like so good. That's like one of my favorite Nirvana songs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I know the Foo Fighters have said that they're going to start doing some touring pretty soon. They're going to they're on a lot of tours or festivals coming up. And I'll tell you, I know, not having Taylor on the drums is the shits, but I cannot wait to go see Foo Fighters live again. I'll tell you, like, I just absolutely adore. Probably, I would say in like my musical spectrum, Foo Fighters are probably in like my top 5 of everything.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, because it sucks that Taylor's no longer with us, but the band's got to carry on because if the band stops, Taylor's legacy stops.
Right.
If the band continues on, it's a continuation of his body of work. So it's a celebration of his life. I've been just interested to see who they have play drums.
Yep. Last question from Mark and Dryden. So what did you two think about the wrestler now known as Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, not being the mystery partner on AEW Dynamite? Audrey back here in the background's got a couple of feelings about that. Do you think she's even signed with AEW?
Anytime I see a baby out in public crying, I go, me too, kid.
She's just making a whole lot of noise. That's all she does is talk now. She just yells and screams all the time. So
that's awesome.
That's great.
Awesome.
She's great.
Yeah. I like kids. I just rent them. I don't want them.
Listen, my kids are going to be they are ecstatic at the idea of hanging out with you. They were like, can we do wrestling moves? I was like, no, you can't do wrestling moves with Blue Meanie. That's not how this works. You guys can hang out, you can chill, but no wrestling moves. So
it just seemed like a bit of false advertising, kind of, because they were dropping the hints. I'm the boss, and this, that, and other thing. I don't know if she'll be with AEW. I mean, I was the thing, like with TNA Impact. When somebody left WWE, they're automatically going to. Maybe she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Who knows? And if she doesn't want to, that's cool. Yeah, you're not obligated to go there, but she did the New Japan thing. She's doing the show in California. They have a New Japan show in California that she's going to be on. She's just, she's doing the thing. She's doing her bucket list stuff, which is awesome. I'm glad. I'm a big fan of Mercedes. I keep wanting to say Sasha, but I'm a big fan of both. Both great workers, great people. Sasha and Mercedes. Even though it's one, I keep pluralizing her. But no, she's awesome, and doing what she's doing now is good.
Right.
Because you can always go back.
Right.
You can always go back. It's good to go out and live out. Sometimes take a venture outside the castle. See what the world is like outside the castle, because she's earned her right to go back to the castle, and I'm sure the castle will gladly take her back when she's ready to go back, such as Cody did.
Right.
Oh, good for her.
I
hope she's happy.
A part of me really believes that that's what she's doing. She's going out and doing her Cody Rhodes thing for a while. She's going to go out. She's going to tear up the territory, or the independent scene. She's going to go to Japan. She could. I mean, if you're asking me my opinion, Mark, I think probably she'll end up there for a period of time. I don't necessarily believe that she'll sign an exclusive deal with Tony.
She could do the Cardona thing where it's a per date appearance.
Right, because remember too, like there's NWA, there's Impact. There's a lot of promotions that she could. She could end up in GCW, for Christ's sake. There's a lot of things out there that are available for her and at her disposal. I do believe that she'll end up back at WWE before the end of the year, though. I think this is the year that she's going to go out. She's going to tear it up, and she's going to come back and make the money. But I don't see her signing any kind of long term. Because again, like what would be the point of jumping from an exclusive deal to another one, especially if that's the goal for her is to ride this wave for a while. No, but I agree with Meanie. I think there was definitely it felt like a lot of false advertising, and like they kind of knew what they were doing when they were nodding to it. And, and then Tony comes out and he's like, oh, well, it's Tony Storm. Why did you you could have, now you're putting her in a weird position. I don't know. I felt some kind of way about it, but, maybe it was unintentional. Maybe it was, but we'll, time will tell, and we'll see from there.
In the words of Dave Meltzer's plans change.
That's right. Yeah, plans change, pal. But what doesn't change is my excitement and love for this program and the Pod Squad and doing this show with the Blue Meanie. It's fucking great to be here every week with all of you. So thank you for all of your questions. Don't forget, tweet them at us at Mind of the Meanie and use the hashtag Ask Meanie, and we will ask them on the show. Blue Meanie, Blue, sir. Where I'm never going to let that go. Shout out to Dave LaGreca. Where can folks find you on social media?
Yeah, well, hopefully I get these ad reads right one day.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let me clear my throat. If you would like to follow the Blue Meanie on all forms of social media, that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, maybe TikTok, at Blue Meanie, BWO, on all forms of social media. If you would like to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. Get yourself a snazzy little Acknowledge Meanie t-shirt. Now, if you want to support Mind of the Meanie and help us pay the bills, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use coupon code Meanie or use the code MIND to either support Blue Meanie or support Mind of the Meanie. Either code you use will save yourself 10%. So go over to Collar Elbow Brand, save some money. Rod Hicks is doing an amazing job over there at collarandelbowbrand.com. MadCatBeardCare.com. My boy Josh Thornton is doing an amazing job over at MadCatBeardCare.com. He's a cat lover like myself, so if you like cats and you want to help support and take care of feral cats, he rounds them up, takes them to the vet, and gets them all well and good. All well and good. What's that? He takes care of the cats, and he's a cat lover like me. And if you're a cat lover like him and me, go to madcatbeardcare.com. Get some of the blue spruce over there. Shout out to my boy Jim Nelson, glaciersofIce.com. Jim made a 3 of 3 only handmade custom BWO Air Jordan 1 sneakers for Stevie Nova and myself. Each pair of shoes takes Jim about 50 hours per pair to make. If you want to see all his hard work, all his great work, follow him on social media at GOI Kicks. That's GOI Kicks, all forms of social media, and see some of these amazing sneakers that he makes. Now, cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO is for all your birthday wishes, holiday wishes, well wishes. Keep it light, keep it fun. I just did a few this week and had a great time. I love doing the cameos, and I love trying to make somebody's day a little bit happier. So go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. But most importantly, Mr. Barnard, where can we find you?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You can go and find me on Twitter, Instagram, and still on Mastodon at This Is Goober. Yes, it's my handle. No, I'm not changing it. It's a brand, pal. Go ahead and check out my secondary show, Foundation Radio, at foundationradio.net this week. You'll be listening to this on Monday. Jump over in the feed on Tuesday. I'm going to have Eric Bischoff on the program this week. Talk about his new book, Grateful, that he just wrote with Guy Evans. And we'll probably talk about a lot of other stuff, too. So go ahead and check it out, foundationradio.net.
Heard great things about that book.
I have too. It's fantastic. I just started reading it. I have a couple of days to get through it, and I'm looking forward to picking it apart with him. Don't forget my new program. The Wrestling Hour premieres this Wednesday, January 18th at 3 p.m. Eastern. So go over to premierstreamingnetwork.com, sign up today, and check it out. My first panel guests are Cameron Hawkins from The Ringer, Candice Cordelia from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and the editor of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Kevin McElvaney. So go ahead and check that out. The Wrestling Hour with Adam Barnard starts this Wednesday and every week after that. Go over to the Feinberg Method at thefeinbergmethod.com and get yourself situated mentally and physically with my trainer, Brad Feinberg. Use promo code Goober and save up to 20% on your entire purchase with him. And tell him Goober sent you, thefeinbergmethod.com. ProWrestlingTees.com/Foundation Radio. Pick up a shirt to support the program. Don't forget my Brothers Gaddor Wrestling Buddy will be coming soon. Get yourself a 2-pack, Deal Jones. For your Mind of the Meanie love for Meanie and Adam together. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Sign up today. Actually, wait, that's the wrong sentence. ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Pick yourself up a shirt and support the program. Patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Sign up today and keep the lights on at Casa DeMeanie and at the Barnard home for wayward and troubled youth. Meanie, thank you so much for your time. As always, I genuinely appreciate it. I love this program, and I love the Pod Squad here. We genuinely appreciate you. For the Blue Meanie, I'm Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip to the mind of the meanie. Peace. I'm leaving it.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie was recorded and produced by Adam Barnard and was engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional production and narration provided by Sam Krebs. Our executive producers are Josh Chernoff, Adam Barnard, and the Blue Meanie. Our opening theme is performed by the Swamp Candles. Our closing theme is performed by Chikara. The show contains original music produced by Enrichment. Get additional bonus content by becoming our patron on Patreon at patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Mind of the Meanie. This has been a Butts Carlton media production in conjunction with the MLW Radio Network. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
Dad, why is Blue Meanie's brain out?
The world of MLW Radio never stops.